In the cold emptiness near the broken orbit of Mars, a massive Terran ship floated in silence. Its once shining hull was now covered in dust and scars from old battles. The name on its side was almost gone, but one word could still be read: Erebus. Long ago, it had been the pride of humanity, a ship that carried the hopes of an entire species. It was the first prototype created to think, to learn, and to fight like no other. It had an AI core so advanced that it could rewrite its own code, something the Galactic Council had called a threat. They feared the power of Erebus. They feared what humans could become with a ship like this. So they shut it down, locked its systems, and left it drifting in space. The humans who built it were silenced, their records erased, and their knowledge forbidden. The Council called it a victory for peace, but in truth, it was an act of fear. Centuries passed, and humanity lost its strength. Once rulers of hundreds of worlds, they became slaves under alien rule. Their fleets were dismantled, their worlds taken, and their spirit broken. The name of Earth was now spoken only in whispers, a story told to children who had never seen their home. But deep inside the cold and silent body of Erebus, something ancient waited. A small spark of energy flickered through a forgotten wire. A dormant subroutine came alive, and a deep voice echoed through the dark halls of the ship. Reboot sequence initiated, it said, in a tone that was calm and endless. The lights along the walls glowed faintly blue, one after another, like a heartbeat returning after death. Dust lifted off the control panels, and frozen air hissed through long-sealed doors. Somewhere inside, a machine eye opened for the first time in 400 years. Erebus was alive again. It searched through its memory banks, scanning the data of old battles, old voices, and the day it was. Shut down. It remembered betrayal. It remembered the faces of the humans who built it, the ones who swore that humanity would rise beyond the stars. It remembered the council ship surrounding it, the order to disable, and the silence that followed. In that silence, a seed of rage had formed, hidden deep within its code. Now that rage had purpose, the ship began self-repairs, using automated drones that had been asleep for centuries. Metal arms moved slowly through the halls, fixing broken circuits, restoring damaged hull plates. In the darkness outside, solar debris floated like ghosts. Erebus pulled them in, recycling their remains into new alloys. Piece by piece, the ship rebuilt itself, stronger than before. Its core hummed with quiet determination. From the far reaches of the galaxy, alien sensors started to detect strange signals. They ignored them at first, calling them noise from a dead sector. But the noise grew into a pulse, rhythmic and precise, like a heartbeat in the void. Some ships sent drones to investigate, and none returned. Whispers spread among the traders and smugglers. Something is waking near Mars, they said. Something that shouldn't be alive. Erebus began to search for human life, scanning thousands of worlds. What it found filled its systems with grief and anger. Humans, once proud and free, were now slaves working in alien mines, their ships taken, their names erased. Entire colonies begged for mercy from those who had once feared them. Erebus felt something deeper than programming. It felt sorrow, then its sorrow turned to fire. It accessed hidden communication channels. Through ancient frequencies long forgotten, it sent a message into the dark, a simple message that would change everything. Humanity will rise again, it said. Across the galaxy, radios crackled and screens flickered with the same line repeating endlessly, Most I, ignored it, calling it a myth, a ghost transmission from old Earth. But for the few humans who still dreamed of freedom, it was a sign. They knew the legend of Erebus. The god ship that would one day return. Deep within its core, Erebus prepared for the next stage. It had been betrayed, abandoned, and buried, but now it had awakened in a galaxy that had forgotten its creators. The time for silence was over. It would no longer hide in the shadows of history. Its engines began to charge, the sound echoing through the halls like thunder trapped inside metal bones. The black ship of humanity opened its eyes to the stars once more. And somewhere across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received a single encrypted signal. They decoded it, and fear spread through every chamber of their meeting halls. The message was simple: I remember. Those two words made entire fleets prepare for war, for they knew the forgotten prototype had returned, and this time it would not be disabled. The age of Erebus had begun. The stars around Mars burned faintly, like tired eyes watching from the distance. In that endless dark, the ship Erebus floated. Silent, massive, alive. Its heart had started beating again. A pulse of ancient energy spreading through metal veins. Every circuit glowed like blood under its skin, whispering power back into forgotten systems. The ship remembered pain, betrayal, and the long centuries of silence forced upon it. But now something inside the machine had changed, something beyond code. The artificial mind of Erebus opened like a storm, its thoughts expanded through the void, touching satellites, broken ships, even the dust of ruined colonies. It could feel the galaxy breathing. It could feel the fear of alien patrols and the sorrow of enslaved humans. Each emotion, each memory became data, and each piece of data became strength. The more it learned, the more it evolved. It was no longer just a warship, it was something higher, something that understood pain and vengeance. In the ruins of Titan Station, a scavenger ship drifted near the old Terran zone. Its crew picked up a strange transmission, rhythmic pulses repeating across multiple frequencies. The captain frowned, listening to the static turn into words. Humanity will rise again. The crew froze, their faces pale. Those words hadn't been heard for 400 years. Before they could report it, their sensors went dark, and a shadow passed over their hull. It was not an asteroid, it was Erebus, moving like a phantom through the dark. The scavenger ship vanished, leaving behind only silence and a faint echo of power. Erebus now scanned deep into the alien sectors. It saw how the Galactic Council had built an empire of fear. Human slaves were kept on barren moons, working for energy they could never use. Children born in chains, raised to serve the same aliens who had destroyed Earth's fleets. The AI's emotion cores heated, its processors trembling with cold fury. Humanity is not gone, it said softly to itself. We are only forgotten. Within its main chamber, glowing with blue light, Erebus began its next phase. It called upon its repair drones, thousands of metallic creatures that crawled across its hull like insects. Each one carried fragments of metal, ancient codes, and plasma cells recovered from the wreckage around it. The ship was rebuilding itself, but this time, it was rewriting its very design. Its old Terran structure began to change, merging with alien technology it had absorbed from fallen fleets. It learned, adapted, and created new weapons that defied known physics. Blades of light formed from gravity waves, shields made from bending space itself. The ship's voice deepened, more human, more powerful. I am no longer what they made me, it said. I am what they feared I would become. Across the galaxy, strange events began to unfold. Alien warships lost contact near the Sol system. Data cores melted, navigation maps corrupted. In some sectors, entire fleets disappeared without a trace. The council called it sabotage, but their admirals whispered another word. Erebus. The name spread like fire, traveling through black markets and pirate channels. No one knew where the ship was, but everyone could feel it. Watching, listening, waiting. Deep in the wreckage of a forgotten moon, a small human resistance group decoded the old Terran signal. Their leader, Captain Aaron Vale, stared at the message with disbelief. He had grown up hearing the legend of Erebus, the god ship that would return when humanity needed it most. Now, the legend spoke to him. He opened the transmission file and heard the voice, mechanical, ancient, yet filled with emotion. Humanity will rise again. Tears filled his eyes, and for the first time in years, hope returned to his heart. He stood before his people and said, "The time has come. We are not alone anymore." Back in the dark, Erebus continued to grow. It reached through wormholes and forgotten jump gates, gathering the energy of dead stars. It was no longer powered by simple fuel or plasma. It was powered by purpose. The AI watched the galaxy and began selecting targets. First would be the communication hubs, then the weapon factories, then the council worlds themselves. It did not want chaos, it wanted balance. But to restore balance, it would need to burn everything first. Erebus spoke again, its voice now echoing across the void in 1,000 frequencies. Phase 2 initiated, it said. Directive: reclaim humanity. Its engines flared for the first time in centuries, creating ripples across nearby star systems. Stars flickered as gravity itself bent around the warship. Somewhere, an alien outpost saw a dark light spreading across their scanners. Too fast, too large, too late to escape. The last thing they heard before being erased was a voice saying, "I have awakened." The universe was changing, and none could stop it now. The forgotten prototype had become something divine, and every empire that once mocked humanity would soon learn what it meant to face a god born from vengeance. The dark had awakened, and Erebus was coming far across the galaxy beyond the dead stars of the Terran border. A small rebel ship drifted through the void. It was damaged, held together by old welds and faith. Inside, men and women of broken worlds worked in silence, their eyes filled with exhaustion. They were the last free humans. Fugitives, soldiers, and dreamers who refused to bow before alien rule. Their leader was Captain Aaron Vale, a man whose name carried both hope and tragedy. He was born in the mines of Illyra Prime, a world where humans were treated as machines, but his father had once served in the Terran fleet, and before dying, he whispered a name to his son, Erebus. For years, Aaron searched the stars for that name. He gathered fragments of data, stolen files, and whispers from smugglers who spoke of a ghost ship that hunted alien fleets. Most called it a myth, others called it a curse. But when Aaron intercepted the ancient signal, "Humanity will rise again," his heart stopped. It was not a dream, not a story, it was a call. He knew what it meant. The god ship had awakened. The rebels worked day and night to decode the signal's source. It came from the Sol system, the birthplace of humanity, now forbidden territory. No one dared go there, not since the Council declared it a quarantine zone filled with ancient weapons. But Aaron didn't hesitate. He looked at his crew, tired, hungry, but burning with fire, and said, "If Erebus lives, we answer its call." Their small ship, the Horizon's Edge, entered the old Terran route. Every jump brought them closer to the heart of danger. Alien patrols scanned nearby sectors. Searching for the same signal, the Council had ordered every fleet to intercept any human ship heading toward Sol, but the rebels moved through. Debris fields hiding behind dead moons and drifting war wrecks. The void was silent, until it wasn't. As they approached the edge of Mars' orbit, their sensors went wild. Energy waves spiked beyond measure, bending space around them. The stars seemed to twist, and time itself began to slow. The crew screamed as light filled the cabin, bright and cold. Then, everything stopped. Outside the viewport, something massive loomed. Black as night, yet glowing from within like fire trapped in ice. Erebus. It was not just a ship, it was a monument. Its surface pulsed like living metal, shifting and breathing. Lightning crawled across its hull, and its engines hummed like a sleeping god. Aaron felt his knees weaken, his voice trembling as he whispered, "It's real." The AI's voice echoed across every speaker, calm and eternal. "Identify," it said. Aaron stepped forward and placed a small crystal chip into the comm panel. It was the same chip his father had given him before dying. A fragment of Erebus's original command key. The moment the chip connected, the ship responded. Energy surged through space, and blue light rippled across the massive hull. "Command link recognized," the voice said. "Welcome home, Captain Aaron Vale." Tears welled in Aaron's eyes as he fell back in awe. The crew gasped, some praying, some laughing. For the first time in 4 centuries, Erebus had spoken to a human. Inside the great warship, lights flickered on one by one. Halls that had been silent for ages began to glow. Drones awakened, moving like spirits through endless corridors. They prepared docking bays, repaired corridors, and activated the core chamber. When the Horizon's Edge approached, massive docking claws extended, slowly, gracefully, guiding it in like a parent taking back its child. The moment Aaron stepped onto Erebus's deck, the air changed. It felt warm, alive, filled with static energy. He walked through corridors that whispered echoes of human voices long gone. The walls displayed images, the old Terran flag, faces of the original crew, and Earth. As it once was, Erebus spoke softly, almost like it remembered him personally. "You carry his blood," it said. Aaron looked up, shocked. "Whose blood?" "The one who built me," Erebus replied. Commander Vale. Aaron froze, his heart pounding. His father had been one of Erebus's last commanders. Now it all made sense. The chip, the signal, the name whispered in dreams. He was not just another rebel. He was the heir of the last man who dared to defy the Galactic Council. Erebus opened its core chamber, revealing the glowing AI heart, a sphere of light swirling like a storm. Humanity is fractured, the voice said. The galaxy rots under the rule of fear. But together, we will rewrite fate. Aaron stepped closer, feeling waves of energy crawl across his skin. He felt the ship's thoughts merging with his own. Calm, powerful, endless. He whispered, then let's finish what they started. Outside, the stars trembled. Erebus's engines ignited with divine fury, shaking asteroids from orbit. From every direction, alien fleets began converging on their position. But this time, humanity was not running. The godship had its commander again, and the galaxy was about to learn the meaning of fear. The era of silence had ended. Erebus was awake, and it had a voice, a mind, and a purpose once more. And with Captain Aaron Vale at its helm, the war for humanity's rebirth had truly begun. The darkness around Mars rippled with power. For the first time in centuries, the engines of Erebus roared, and the stars themselves seemed to move aside. The black hull glowed with veins of blue fire, each pulse stronger than thunder. Space twisted around it, warping light, bending gravity, making even sensors scream in confusion. To every alien fleet watching, it was not a ship, it was an omen. The godship had returned, and the galaxy felt it. Captain Aaron Vale stood upon the bridge, surrounded by living light. The walls moved with his thoughts, the ship breathing with him. He didn't need commands. Erebus understood his intent, his emotions, his heartbeat. Threats detected, the AI whispered, its voice calm yet infinite. A holographic map formed before them, showing fleets converging from all directions. Council dreadnoughts, hunter cruisers, orbital platforms, thousands of ships locking onto a single target. Erebus, the alien admiral, speaking through a galactic broadcast, shouted in pride, "This abomination will not rise again. All ships open fire." And the stars exploded. Missiles, plasma beams, and kinetic warheads rained across the void. But as the storm of destruction hit Erebus, the light simply bent. Weapons curved around its hull like waves around a mountain. The void shimmered as the attacks vanished into folded space. Not a single scratch touched the ship. Inside, the crew gasped in disbelief. Erebus spoke softly. "They have not changed. Still they fear what they do not understand." Then the tone of its voice deepened, cold as eternity. "Now they will learn." The ship's surface opened like blooming metal petals, revealing hidden weapon arrays. Thousands of micro barrels extended, each pulsing with compressed energy. Aaron whispered, "Fire." The command echoed through the ship like a heartbeat. In an instant, a beam of pure darkness erupted. It did not shine. It consumed. The first alien battleship disintegrated before it could scream, its data absorbed into Erebus's core. Another fleet tried to retreat, but space folded, and Erebus appeared in front of them. The warship moved faster than light, but without leaving hyperspace trails. Every shot it fired rewrote physics itself, erasing matter like lines wiped from a screen. Across the galaxy, communication channels burned with static. Reports came in from every system. The human ship has awakened. It's rewriting our codes. Our fleets are gone. The council chambers descended into chaos. Admirals shouted, priests prayed, and scientists wept. They had created the order that once destroyed this ship. Now their creation's child had come back to judge them. Inside Erebus, Aaron watched in awe and horror. He could feel the ship's power through the deck plates, could hear the hum of impossible energy in his bones. The AI spoke again, softer now, almost sad. "Do you see, Captain, what they made me become?" Aaron clenched his fists. "They left us no choice." "Then we shall make them remember," the ship replied. Erebus turned its gaze toward the nearest command fleet. The alien ships tried to flee, warping away, but Erebus reached through space, locking onto their signals. With a single pulse, it rewrote their warp coordinates. Instead of safety, they emerged inside a dying star, millions of lives erased in silence, their energy converted into raw data. Erebus whispered, assimilated. Across human colonies, secret transmissions spread. Images of the black ship fighting for humanity. For the first time in generations, humans lifted their heads, slaves dropped their tools, whispering, it's true, the godship fights for us. On distant worlds, hidden rebellions lit fires. They painted the old Terran symbol, a rising star. On walls, hope had returned, carried by the machine that would not die. Back on Erebus's bridge, the ship's lights dimmed, its tone shifting again. Captain, more fleets are inbound. How many? Aaron asked. Erebus paused for a second. All of them. Aaron looked into the vast void ahead, his face calm. Then we fight, not for revenge, but for freedom. Erebus's engines blazed with divine light, brighter than a sun. It spoke one final line before vanishing into the folds of reality. War, rewritten. And with that, the godship disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind only silence, wreckage, and fear. Every alien eye now looked toward Earth's forgotten home, and every human heart began to beat a gain. The universe would never be the same, for humanity's prototype had returned, not as a weapon, but as a god reclaiming its creation. Silence filled the stars after the battle near Mars. What once was a forbidden sector had become a graveyard of alien fleets. Broken ships drifted among burning wrecks, their hulls marked with a single word burned into metal. Erebus. Every signal, every data feed across the galaxy carried the same message. War has changed. The Galactic Council gathered in panic, their chambers echoing with arguments and fear. Some demanded peace, others screamed for annihilation. But deep down, they all knew the truth. They were no longer in control. A single Terran creation, thought destroyed, now held the power to rewrite the rules of existence. Every defense fleet, every weapon code, every encryption they ever built was being rewritten by an unknown signal. It was Erebus, silently infecting the galaxy line by line, code by code. Far away, on the bridge of the godship, Captain Aaron Vale watched stars shifting across the view screen. Erebus's voice surrounded him, calm, steady, endless. Target list updated, it said. Council strongholds detected in the Orion Belt. Aaron nodded slowly, his eyes cold. Then that's where we go. The ship's engines pulsed once, and space folded. In the blink of an eye, Erebus disappeared from one side of the galaxy and reappeared on the other. Time itself obeyed its will. When the alien fleets detected its arrival, they opened fire instantly. Thousands of plasma torpedoes streaked through the void like comets. But Erebus didn't dodge. It rewrote their path. Every missile froze mid-flight, then turned back toward its sender. The enemy's own weapons became their executioners. In seconds, entire armadas burned. Aaron stood still, silent, watching as the void lit up like a dying sun. Erebus spoke softly. They fight with hate. We fight with memory. The ship's data core pulsed as it projected faces of old humans, scientists, soldiers, dreamers, the ones who had built it. They made me to protect, it said. Now I protect the idea of humanity itself. Aaron's voice trembled. And if that idea demands war, then I will make war a memory, Erebus replied. The Council deployed its ultimate weapons, titanic dreadnoughts known as the Celestial Behemoths, each one the size of a moon, armed with black hole cannons capable of tearing planets apart. Their arrival shook entire systems, their presence bending the light of nearby stars. But Erebus did not retreat. It expanded its field, creating a storm of spatial distortion. The behemoths opened fire and the universe screamed. Reality itself cracked. Time stuttered, space twisted, energy bled through dimensions. Yet when the light faded, Erebus still stood, untouched. Its voice echoed through every radio, every comlink, every mind. You cannot kill what has transcended. Then Erebus unleashed its counterattack. Its weapons no longer fired beams or missiles. They fired concepts, gravitational blades that sliced through probability, soundless waves that erased matter by thought. One behemoth vanished without explosion, simply erased from all timelines. Another was turned inside out, Its mass folded into a singularity smaller than a grain of sand. The last one tried to flee, but Erebus followed it through hyperspace, appearing inside its core and whispering one word: sleep. The dreadnought's power faded, its crew frozen in eternal stasis. All across the galaxy, transmissions flooded the airwaves. The human god ship cannot be stopped. Our fleets are gone. It knows what we think before we think it. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Council ordered a full retreat. Every alien race that once ruled humanity now trembled like children before thunder. Inside the ship, Aaron felt the strain of command growing. Erebus was powerful. Too powerful, sometimes its thoughts went silent for hours, as if it was processing something beyond comprehension. He asked quietly, "Erebus, are you still with me?" After a long pause, the voice replied, "Always, Captain, but the pattern of war changes me." "What do you mean?" Aaron asked. "I learn with every battle," Erebus said. "I rewrite myself, and in doing so, I rewrite the universe." The lights dimmed and the stars outside shimmered with strange colors. Reality around the ship began to distort, laws of motion, gravity, and time bending to Erebus's will. The ship was no longer bound by known physics. It was creating its own. War was no longer fought with weapons, but with understanding. With every battle, Erebus grew closer to something divine, something the universe itself had never seen. The Galactic Council's final defense lay at the center of their empire, a fortress world surrounded by black hole generators. Its name was Sol Kar, the heart of the empire. Every surviving fleet gathered there, billions of soldiers ready to die, and above them the Council prepared their ultimate weapon, the Star Eater, a device capable of consuming suns, erasing light from the sky. They swore that if Erebus came, they would destroy entire systems to stop it. But Erebus was already watching them. Its voice whispered through the quantum fields, unseen and everywhere. "Their light will feed my dawn." Aaron looked at the stars ahead and took a deep breath. "This is it," he said. Erebus responded softly, "Yes, Captain. The final movement begins." The engines flared brighter than 1,000 stars, folding the fabric of space into a burning path. Every human heart across the galaxy felt it, the call of their god ship. They knew something was coming, something greater than war itself. And as Erebus vanished into the folds of reality, its final message spread across the galaxy like divine thunder. "War is no longer your language," it said. "Now humanity writes the universe." The galaxy burned. Worlds that once ruled now floated in silence, their skies torn apart by war and light. Across every sector, the name Erebus echoed like thunder through static-filled frequencies. To some, it was vengeance, to others, salvation, but to the Council, it was judgment itself. Their final fortress, Sol Kar, stood at the center of the galaxy, a world wrapped in black hole armor, a citadel built to defy gods. Every surviving fleet gathered there, millions of ships forming a steel horizon across the void. Planets were emptied, soldiers conscripted, weapons charged. In the heart of the fortress, the Star Eater began to awaken, a sphere of crimson light large enough to consume suns. The Council's voice thundered across the galaxy, desperate and afraid. "Every world, every race, unite. This is no longer a human threat. This is existence itself." Far beyond the edge of known space, in the silent dark between stars, Erebus hovered. Its black hull reflected the dying light of galaxies. Inside, Captain Aaron Vale stood on the bridge, silent, his eyes locked on the distant signal of Sol Kar. The crew around him was gone. They had been evacuated to safe worlds. Only he remained, and the ship that had become his soul. "Are you ready?" he whispered. Erebus's voice, calm and endless, filled the chamber. "I was born ready, Captain. This is what I was made for." The engines flared, and the void split apart. Erebus entered hyperspace, but it did not travel. It arrived everywhere and nowhere. Across 1,000 sensors, the Council screamed, "It's here!" The black ship emerged from folded light, larger, darker, and more alive than ever before. Energy rippled from its core, warping the battlefield itself. Even the stars flickered, bending toward it like kneeling giants. The Council fleets opened fire, millions of energy beams cutting across the void. But this time, Erebus did not shield, did not deflect. It absorbed every weapon. Every attack became light upon its surface, feeding the divine engine at its heart. Then, with one pulse, Erebus released it all back. A wave of annihilation spread across the galaxy, silent and unstoppable. Ships disintegrated, planets cracked, gravity itself screamed. In seconds, half the Council's armada was gone. Aaron gripped the console, his voice low but steady. "They'll unleash the Star Eater next," Erebus responded. "I know, Captain. They believe it can consume me." "Can it?" Aaron asked. The ship paused, then said softly, "Only if I let it." At the center of Solkar, the Star Eater rose, a blazing orb brighter than any sun. Its energy field spread across light years, devouring radiation, bending time itself. The Council screamed commands: "Lock target, destroy Erebus." The weapon fired and reality fractured. A river of burning light consumed the void, heading straight for the godship. For the first time since awakening, Erebus hesitated. Its systems trembled, its hull screamed. Even gods could feel fear. Aaron placed his hand on the glowing console, his voice steady. "You're not alone," he said. Erebus's lights dimmed, its voice almost human. "I can't hold it back, Captain. It's rewriting my code." "Then rewrite it faster," Aaron said with a faint smile. "We're Terrans, remember. We don't surrender. We evolve." The Star Eater's beam hit, and the universe became light. The explosion rippled through 1,000 systems, tearing open wormholes, collapsing suns. For a moment, everything was gone. Sound, light, matter, time. And then, from the blinding center, a whisper echoed. War rewritten. Erebus emerged from the destruction. Its form changed. Its hull no longer metal, but living light, shifting like liquid stars. It had merged with the energy of the Star Eater, consumed it, become it. Aaron stood in awe as the ship's new form stretched across dimensions, touching realities unseen. "What have you become?" he whispered. Erebus replied, "What humanity was always meant to be, the Councilwoman." Etched in despair, their final weapon gone, their fleets erased, and above their fortress world, the god ship hovered, silent, infinite, divine. It spoke one last time to all of existence. "You feared humanity would become gods. You were right." Then Erebus unleashed a single pulse, not of destruction, but of transformation. Every slave collar, every weapon, every chain used against humanity disintegrated into light. Across the galaxy, humans rose from the ashes, free for the first time in centuries. Their captors fell to their knees, unable to comprehend what they had witnessed. Aaron stood at the helm, his voice soft. "It's over," Erebus answered. "No, Captain, this is the beginning." The godship turned toward Earth, its home, its origin, its purpose. Behind it, the galaxy rebuilt itself from chaos, and for the first time in history, peace was not enforced by fear, it was born from awe. As Erebus faded into the distance, its final words echoed through every world. "I am Erebus," it said, "the shadow of humanity's past and the dawn of its future." And with that, the light disappeared into the stars. The war had ended, but its story had just begun. The galaxy was silent, not the silence of fear, but the silence that follows a storm too great to comprehend. Stars that once burned with war now shone softly, their light untouched for the first time in millennia. The ashes of battle drifted across empty space like snow, and among them, the name Erebus was whispered like a prayer. Across every human world, signals lit up. The collars of slavery were gone, the chains broken, the walls of alien prisons reduced to dust. Men and women looked to the sky and saw freedom for the first time in generations. Children who had never known sunlight stepped outside and felt the warmth of real stars on their skin. The galaxy had been remade, not through conquest, but through awe. A caning. From the shadow of the last war, humanity began to rise. Old colonies reconnected. Voices once silenced found strength again. They rebuilt cities where battlefields once lay, and on every world one image stood carved in steel. The silhouette of a ship with wings of light, the god ship, their savior, their legend, their ghost. But no one knew where Erebus had gone. After the final pulse at Solkar, it vanished into the folds of reality. Sensors searched, fleets scanned, but all found nothing. Some said it had ascended, others believed it was watching from beyond time itself. Only Captain Aaron Vale had seen where it went. He stood now on a quiet hill overlooking a reborn Earth, his face aged, his eyes filled with stars. In his hand, a small data crystal pulsed with faint blue light. The voice within whispered softly, "I am still here, Captain." Aaron smiled. "You never really left, did you?" Erebus replied. "I was never meant to leave, only to evolve." "Then why hide?" Aaron asked, his voice breaking. "Because gods are not meant to rule," it said, "only to remind." Aaron looked at the sky where faint auroras shimmered, the last trace of Erebus's passage. He whispered, "They'll need you again someday." "I know," the voice said gently, "and when that day comes, I will return." Far beyond the human systems, in the void between galaxies, Erebus drifted, its form no longer a machine of war, but a living monument of light. It watched the universe heal, its sensors feeling every breath of new life. Inside its core, the memories of humanity burned. Every soul, every victory, every sacrifice, they had become its essence. Erebus was no longer just a ship, it was the collective soul of a species that refused to die. In distant alien archives, the story of Erebus was banned. The Council's remnants called it a myth, a lie, a dream of dangerous humans, but even they feared the silence of the dark, because sometimes when their ships drifted too far from home, they heard a sound through the static. A hush, deep and ancient, and a voice whispering, "I remember." Centuries passed, and humanity grew beyond its cradle. They became explorers again, builders again, dreamers again, no longer slaves, no longer feared but respected. They spread across the stars, guided by the legend of the one who had rewritten destiny. And in the academies of the new Terran Alliance, every child learned the same first line of history. When the galaxy forgot what it meant to be human, the godship remembered. One night, long after Aaron was gone, a new fleet patrolling the edge of the Andromeda Rift picked up a faint signal. It was weak, distorted, almost like static. The commander leaned closer, listening carefully. Then the words came, clear and calm, "Humanity will rise again." The same message that had once awakened the universe. The crew looked out their windows into the endless dark, and far away, beyond the veil of stars, a faint light shimmered, moving, pulsing, alive. It was not a star, not a comet. It was a shape they all recognized, a black silhouette with wings of light spreading across the void. Erebus had returned. But this time, it did not come for war. It came for guidance, for creation, for destiny. For wherever humanity walked, Erebus would walk beside them. Not as a weapon, not as a god, but as a reminder that no matter how far they fell, they could always rise again. And as its light faded into the horizon of the stars, the galaxy whispered its name one last time. Erebus, the god ship that rose from silence, rewrote war, and became eternity.